Hey Georgia property owners, have you been thinking about your fall property maintenance? If not, don't worry, because today we are going through all the pro tips of how to keep your property running smoothly in these cooler months ahead. And we're going to cook up a delicious fall treat, pumpkin ooey gooey butter cake. So by the time you watch the end of this video, you'll have a cozy treat recipe and a fall prep checklist. Let's get mixing. Hey y'all, and if it's your first time here, welcome to Cooking Up Real Estate. My name is Stacy Roberts, aka This Realtor Cooks, and I'm here to help you discover all things Harris County, Georgia. My son and I moved to this area just last year, so I'm going to be sharing with you firsthand what it's really like to move to the central western part of Georgia. And whether you're moving your family or your business, I'd love to help. You'll find all my contact information in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you'll always be in the loop of all things Harris County, Georgia. Hey y'all, and welcome back to Cooking Up Real Estate. We are here in the kitchen cooking again, and we're also going to be talking about pro tips for your fall property maintenance. So stay tuned for those coming up. First, we're going to talk about what it is we're making so that I can start cooking and talking and giving you those tips. So we are making something called an ooey gooey butter cake. I just learned about this, although I think I have had something very similar when I lived in Mississippi called chess pie. So if you've had that, very similar vibe for this recipe. I received a box of ooey gooey butter cake. It's a Paula Deen like specialty. She has it boxed in her stores in the Lady and Sons. And my daughter gave me and my husband a box of it as a gift. And if y'all don't know, I have a really amazing backstory in my life. I am going to be sharing my full testimony here on the channel very soon, and you can find out how I went from being a single mom of one to a mom of two and a grandma. So stay tuned for that on the channel, but that beautiful daughter of mine is the one who gave us this cake box, and we made it for our small group at church, and everybody went nuts over it. So I was like, well, I guess I need to make it again for small group. And so I found the recipe online, and I even went as far as to do scratch cake mix. So we'll be talking about that in a minute. Now we're going to put a little fall twist on it, and we're adding pumpkin to it. And I'm really excited about it. So our small group gets treated again this week to pumpkin ooey gooey butter cake. And if you want the recipe, just find my email address. It's either in the comments or description below, and just send me a quick email, and you put it in the description line, pumpkin ooey gooey butter cake recipe, and I'll be glad to email it to you. All right, so let's get started. So we are going to start, like I said, we are making a homemade from scratch cake mix. I had made some from the last time. I don't think there's going to be enough in here, but this is how I store it. I just put it in a ball jar, a mason jar, and I just wrote on there the date and what it is. Again, I don't think there's enough, so we're going to go ahead and mix up some more. So beyond the fact that I just like to use what I have on hand, I also really like using this particular flour. It's not because of the brand, but King Arthur, there's other flours I'm sure that have this as well, is literally just unbleached hard red wheat flour and an enzyme. Like that's all that's in there. There's no enrichment in it. There's no added folic acid. And I just like its purity. And this is what I use for all my sourdoughs and stuff like that. So I wanted to be able to control what went into the cake for sure. But that's always the flour that I use, and I love it. So I have measured out 2 1/3 cup of flour here. And then I'm going to add in a 1/4 cup of corn starch. And then in this little container, there is a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Again, if you want the recipe, just email me and I will be glad to give it. Okay, so the recipe calls for a box of yellow cake mix. So that's 18 1/4 ounces. I'm using my handy kitchen scale. Y'all, this is like the best. This is my newest thing, especially since starting doing sourdough. Highly recommend having a kitchen scale. So I'm going to measure out 18 1/4 ounces. And after I do this, it's really just mixing some things together. So I'm just going to kind of be cooking and talking about those fall property maintenance tips. All right, we've got 18 1/4 ounces of cake mix. We're going to put in a stick of melted butter, and we're going to put in an egg. Then we're going to start mixing, and we're going to start talking. This is going to be the bottom layer of the ooey gooey butter cake, and it creates like a almost like a cookie. It's a little bit more like a cookie dough than a cake dough. Let's talk fall maintenance, okay? So we are reaching the end of summer and the beginning of cool months. What kind of maintenance can you be doing? The first tip that I have for you is to get your HVAC system inspected. So whether you are a homeowner, and this is for a residential property, or a commercial property or multifamily, this can apply to any. So you want to get somebody to come in and take a look at your entire system. Of course, we're all going to be celebrating that we've just turned off our air conditioner here in Georgia in the fall, but we're about to have to turn on the heat. So get your entire system looked at. They can come in, clean out your filters, see if there's any issues, get it taken care of before an issue could come up, before you're about to turn on your heat, and then also it'll be taken care of for next fall. So it's a win-win-win. One more ingredient you're going to need is a little bit of water. I don't know if it's just the making it from scratch or what it is. It's not in the original recipe, but it is in my recipe. So you can see here that it's a little crumbly. Excuse that mess that I just made on my stand mixer. Nobody saw that. So we're going to add, this is about 3 tablespoons of water. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm going to add a little bit and then see, because it does soak it up pretty quickly. So get your HVAC system inspected. That's pro tip 1. Pro tip number 2 is, what other system are you about to start using? Probably your chimney if you have a fireplace in your house. And so you want to go ahead and get your chimney cleaned out and inspected annually. I do have a great HVAC company. I'll link them below, and any other vendors that I've worked with that do any of the services that I'm speaking about. But I do not have a good chimney sweep. So if you are in the Harris County area, I would love your recommendation. If it's your company or someone you know or one that you've used, please link it down below. I love supporting small businesses. Y'all gotta help me out there, because chimney sweeps are becoming fewer and far between. Either way, you do need to get that system evaluated every 12 months. If you're maybe a commercial or multifamily investor, another good idea is to get your sprinkler systems inspected. And then that can also lend into residential properties. If it's your house, go ahead and check out all your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide monitors, and everything like that. And just make sure that before you're going to be having the heater going and the fireplace going, that all of those fire safety systems are in working order. All right, before we go on to pro tip number 3 for your fall maintenance tips, we're going to go ahead and press this dough. You can see it's kind of like, it's like a Play-Doh consistency, and you're just going to press it down into the bottom of your pan. So, all right, pro tip number 3 is to seal all windows and doors, right? So we're about to turn on the heat. We don't want to waste any of that expensive hot air that blows into our house for the winter months, or even the wood that we're burning in that chimney, which both systems have now been checked out, right? So you can either do some DIY, get all kinds of weather stripping and things like that you can get at your home improvement store, or if you've been putting off replacing a door or windows or things like that, this would be a great time of year to go ahead and see if there's any maybe specials out there to go ahead and get that done. And it's going to be economical because you are going to save money on your energy bill if you're keeping all your warm air inside. So it goes all the way around. And that can also be for if you have a property, commercial property, you'd want to make sure that your tenants are sealing up any kind of gaps, or just checking on all that stuff to kind of maybe make it a time to send your property manager out to check on the property and make sure that there's no issues that aren't going to be causing any like cold drafts coming into your building during the winter time. And that leads me into pro tip number 4, which is outdoor maintenance. So that's going to include checking all your spigots or any openings in your house to also make sure that they're sealed, and then that the spigots, or the place where your hose comes out, to make sure it's covered. They buy those covers. You can get them on Amazon. They have them now in like a little bag. I love those. I'll link them below in the description because they're so cool. And it is like insulated, and it just goes up and around your spigot. And just putting them on there to winterize your outdoor spigot to make sure you're not getting cold air in, to avoid freezing pipes. That would be an end of fall activity here in Georgia. It doesn't really get down to freezing quite this soon in the year. Before you finish outdoors, you can also check all of your limbs, and you could check your irrigation system if you've got one of those in place to make sure everything is up and running. Great time of year to get that checked out. All right, so this is what it should look like after you've pressed it into the pan. Now we're going to work on the next layer. It's the ooey gooey part. We're gonna get our trusty scale back out because I didn't buy the box of confectioner sugar or powdered sugar. I bought the bag, and it's way more than 16 ounces. I guess we could just do half, but we'll just be exact, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and measure out 16 ounces of powdered sugar. All right, so we got our 16 ounces of powdered sugar in here, and then I also added a brick of cream cheese, 8 ounces. Listen, I opened it like a maniac. Y'all aren't gonna get to see that part on camera. So here it is, all in the bowl, ready to roll. And then we're going to add a stick of melted butter into this and a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm gonna do that while I continue to talk and give you pro tip number 5. Here comes the butter. Don't be like me, because the last time I made this, I almost forgot the entire stick of butter and had to float it on top and like mix it in. It was a whole mess. But I did remember there's 2 whole sticks of butter in this. It is called butter cake. So, I mean, what were y'all expecting? And it's a Paula Deen recipe. So, hello. Anyway, okay. So everything is in there except for the vanilla. I'm going to do that. As I said at the start of the video, I actually have this list prepared as a checklist. So if you would like that or this recipe, just find my email below in the comments or in the description of the video and just email me. You can put fall tips checklist in the title, or recipe, or ooey gooey, whatever you want, and just send me a quick little email and I will be glad to send you the recipe or the checklist. So the next tip on our fall prep checklist is pro tip number 5, and that is to clean your gutters. So we know them leaves be falling, right? So we are going to end up with some messy gutters, and if they're already dirty to begin with, where are the leaves going to go, y'all? Where are they going to go? So get up there, clean them out. You can use a hose or if you have a pressure washer, and jet out the gutters and down into the gutter lines if you're a DIYer, or you can call somebody. I do know a great gutter company in Harris County. I'll be sure to link them below as well. And if you have a company yourself, like I said, I love to support small business. So link yourself down below. How else will we know about you? So yum, look at that. So good. What we're going to do is we're going to put this into the bottom kind of cookie-ish cake layer. Then we're going to put that ooey gooey up on top, and then we're going to swirl in some pumpkin. So let's get our pumpkin prepped before we put the ooey gooey layer down. I'm just taking a can of just plain canned pumpkin, y'all. Do not get the pumpkin pie mix. I mean, you can get the pumpkin pie mix, but it's going to have added sugar. This is just literally pumpkin. And I feel like we just put 16 ounces of powdered sugar. I don't really feel like you need that extra sweetness. I personally don't like my desserts cloyingly sweet. Okay, so those are all of my 5 maintenance tips. I'm going to give you a fun little extra tip that wasn't in my original 5 in just a minute, but we're going to go ahead and add in our pumpkin pie spice to our canned pumpkin. If you did go ahead and get the pumpkin pie filling mix and you are going to go with the extra sweetness, you can skip this step. But this is just pumpkin pie spice. You can buy it right with the other spices in the grocery store. I almost think you can do it year round now. I'm eyeballing this. I'm going to say a good tablespoon. We want it to really have that yummy, pumpkin-y, spicy flavor. So all we're doing is mixing that into the canned pumpkin. If you're really feeling extra, you could get a pumpkin pie pumpkin, those little ones you can buy at the grocery store, and you could roast it, and then you could scoop it out, just like cooking any other squash. But we're just going to take the shortcut on this one. Okay, so we've got that ready. We are going to do the fun swirl. So you saw it in my edits. I forgot to add the eggs to the mixture here. So I did add those off camera. There are 2 eggs inside of this cream cheese, powdered sugar, and butter mixture. And now we're just going to take it and we're going to scoop it out onto our crust, if you want to call it that, our cake mix. So you do not bake it ahead of time. You bake it all at once. And we've got the oven preheating at 350 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour this yummy cream cheese mixture in here. If you are a cheesecake fan, you are going to love this recipe. My husband's late wife, Sarah, has the most epic cheesecake recipe. My son actually requested it for his birthday cake this year, so I will be making that nice and smoothed out. You can see that there. I've always been someone who can make things taste good, but I'm not so great at making them pretty. So I am going to do my best to make this one pretty. We're going to dollop on the pumpkin. We probably won't even use all of this, but you know what you could use the extra pumpkin for is making like true pumpkin spice lattes. It's not always my favorite, but I think from home, without like the massive amounts of sugar that a lot of the coffee shops put in it, I think I might enjoy it. And it would add a little fiber to my morning coffee. So we'll see how that gets on. We've got that in there. And now we're just going to take our knife. Hold on. More pumpkin. I probably am going to regret this. Maybe that was enough pumpkin to get the swirl effect. But we want this pumpkin flavor to really shine. Otherwise, how can we call it pumpkin ooey gooey butter cake? Now it's just ooey gooey butter cake. There's getting less and less for my coffee, y'all. Okay, here we go. So we're just going to take a knife and just kind of slide it through the pumpkin. And we're going to slide it back the other way. This is staying a little lumpy, but we can go through this a couple times to kind of smooth it out. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to just kind of push it in a little bit, and then I'm going to glide my knife through. Trial and error, okay? This is the first time I've made this version of the recipe, but I know it's going to taste amazing. So we're just kind of pushing it into our mixture a little bit, then we're going to go back through and swirl. Okay, so now that it's a little smoother, I'm going to go ahead and yes, now it's doing the thing. I will show this to you. This is when I need a cameraman to be showing y'all what I'm doing from up above. One day, we'll get there, y'all. Okay, check that out. Isn't it cute with the little swirlies? All right, so we're gonna pop this into a preheated 350-degree oven for 40 to 50 minutes. You don't want it to be too solid. You still want it to have a little bit of jiggle in it. So I will show you the finished product in just a minute. Okay, while those bake, I'm gonna give you the little extra credit tip that I've got for you. So we talked about cleaning out the gutters and that the leaves are gonna be everywhere. If you live in Georgia, you know it is a thing around here. So if you've got a ton of leaves hanging around, aside from an epic jump pile for your kids, you can use a lawnmower or a leaf shredder if you've got one of those, and you can make mulch out of your leaves, and then you can use them in your garden bed. Or if you are like us and you are doing your own composting bed, then you can also compost all those extra leaves. So definitely don't just get rid of them. Or you can make a scarecrow like we did when I was a kid. Lots of fun uses for all the extra leaves hanging around. Oh my goodness, y'all, look how good they turned out. Yum. Oh, I can't wait to cut into these and try them. They smell incredible. That pumpkin spice is just heavenly. So good. As I was preparing for this video, a scripture just kept popping in my mind. It was Psalm 127. I have this at the top of mine and my husband's to-do list. And it says that if the Lord does not build the house, then you labor in vain. And I don't know about you, but I certainly don't like to labor in vain. So I just encourage you today to go out and seek the Lord in all that you do. And as always, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe so that you can get more delicious recipes, great tips, and all the things going on in Harris County and beyond. See you on the next video.